Okay, so welcome everyone to another one of our mentor interviews. Today we have Sarah Todd with us. Sarah Todd, would you like to give us just a brief introduction of who you are, what school you go to, that kind of thing?
Hi everyone, I'm Sarah Todd. I'm 19 and I'm a freshman at Davidson College in North Carolina. And I'm working on creating a disability studies major and a Hispanic studies minor.
That's awesome. I also created a disability studies major at my school. So if you have
You
any,
did? Oh my
yeah,
gosh, I didn't even know that.
yeah.
We'll
So
have to talk more about that. That's so cool.
yes, we will. So if you have any questions, let me know. Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
Um, but yeah, that's awesome. So you are a freshman, right?
Yes.
Okay. And how did you decide on Davidson?
So originally, Johns Hopkins was my number one school because I have been to Johns Hopkins Hospital, I think like 15 times now for treatment and everything. And I just really loved it. I love the people there. And so I thought I would really love the school. And I toured the school a few times and really loved it. But then my parents took me on a tour of like North Carolina schools since I'm from Georgia. They're really close. So we went and looked at Davidson in October of 2018 for the first time. And I loved it so much. And it became one of my top schools. And then I went and looked at Johns Hopkins again. So I was really trying to decide between the two. But I came back to Davidson in September of 2019. And that's when I really decided it was my top school. It's really small. There's only like 1,800 students here. It's in a small town, so everything is walkable, and it's like 20 minutes away from Charlotte. So if we want to go to a bigger city, we have that really close. But like you don't really need to go into the bigger city because there's tons to do in the town. And I just loved like the strong sense of be here because it seems like everyone here just really cares about one another, and we're all just like very selfless people. Like the whole sense of community focuses more on just who we are as people rather than necessarily like our academics. Like the school is definitely known for strong academics, but we're also really known for just having like nice, selfless people, which I really liked because I thought that that would be a really good environment for someone with a disability like me. Like I felt like it would just be a really accepting community. And my nurse practitioner in Baltimore at Johns Hopkins had connected me with a student who already went to Davidson, and she's a senior and she uses a wheelchair. And I knew that she had had a successful experience at Davidson. And so getting to talk to her and just learn how great her experience had been here as a disabled student was really motivating and just really let me know that like I could have a great experience here given other disabled kids had gone here and had done well. So I'm really happy that I've chosen Davidson. I think it's been a perfect fit for me so far.
That's awesome. So it seems like you've already had some help of like figuring out what it was really like to have like be a student with a disability at that school. Um, and so how
Mhm.
did you did she help you figure out accommodations in any way, or how how has that been for you?
Yeah, my friend, her name's Morgan, she connected me with the disability office before I even got into the school. So that was in September 2019. And I found out that I got in December of that year. But I met with the disability office in September and just got to know them and they got to know me. And it was really good to get connected with them early on because then they knew who I was and I wasn't rushed in the process once I got in. So I connected with them in September. And then once I got in December, I reconnected with them. and told them that I'd gotten in, and I applied early decision. So I knew that once I got in, I was going here. So I reconnected with them, and in March of like right before the pandemic started, I was really lucky I got to do this. I came back to Davidson and I walked around the whole campus with the disability office, and we tried out doors to see like if they were heavy, like too heavy to open. We tried out restroom stall locks like in all the buildings. We looked at all the dorms and just got a general idea of accessibility around campus. Because since I don't use a wheelchair, my idea of accessibility is different from most people's. For me, my main struggles, since I have arm and hand paralysis, are opening doors, doing restroom locks, carrying items around campus, things like that. So that was really helpful. And I even got to meet the employees in the dining hall, and they introduced themselves and told me that they would be willing to help me grab my food in the dining hall. And so it was just a really welcoming community from the beginning, which was great. And I got working on accommodations with her after we did our meeting in March. I did extensive paperwork for housing accommodations because I needed a lot of things. So my disability is called acute flaccid myelitis, or AFM, and it's caused by a virus attacking the spinal cord. So that's why I have some arm and hand paralysis, and that caused me to need a lot of housing accommodations. So they were amazing with that. They gave me a room on the ground level so I would have easy access to the building. And they also gave me a room with a bathroom in the room, and they redid the whole for me because I can't take a shower unless I have like a shelf to put my elbow on, like to reach my hair to wash it. And they added so many things to my room, like handles on the dresser and the closet and the desk so I could open the drawers. They added a keypad lock on the door so I wouldn't have to use a real key because that could be more difficult for me. They even added like a temperature control in the room because most rooms don't have that, and I have impaired body temperature control, so I have like heat and AC in the room, which is really nice. And they just did so much for me. They were really accommodating. And then I also have academic accommodations as well, and those are a little bit different since all my classes are online, like on Zoom right now. But I'm allowed to be a little late to class, like in person, if there's inclement weather, like if there's snow or ice. I'm allowed to type my short answers and essays since writing like a lot can be difficult. And I'm allowed to take breaks if I need them. And I have extra time since writing can take a while, stuff like that.
That's awesome. That they have been like it sounds like insanely accommodating, which is really awesome to hear.
They're amazing.
Yeah. Was there anything that you like were particularly like really nervous about that has been like turned out to be really good? Something like that?
Mhm. I was most nervous, honestly, about like getting dressed and doing my hair and like doing my laundry because those are really the hardest things for me to do. I struggle with doing buttons and zippers. So when I brought my clothes from home, I tried to bring clothes that didn't have those things as much because normally I would just not wear those things or get my mom to help me. And when I came here, I didn't really want to have to ask people for help all that much because I also didn't know anyone except for one girl from my high school. So I knew that I really needed to make sure I could be as independent as possible. So I was really worried about that, but I've made some great friends and they're so sweet. Like if I just text like in my hall group chat or just my friends specifically and say like, hey, can you come help me like button my top or something like that. Like they'll be here super quick to help me and they're really happy to help. Like they never made me feel bad about helping. And when I do laundry, I try to put it off as long as I can. I do it like about every 2 weeks. But when I do laundry, if I need help, they're there to help me. I can do it all on my own, but it's a little tough because washers are on one side of the laundry room and the dryers are on the other side. So carrying my clothes from the washer all the way across the room to the dryer can be difficult. So sometimes they'll just help me carry my stuff, which is really nice. And with my hair, I've actually enjoyed wearing it down more often because I just like that more now. But if I want it up, my friends are always happy to do it or brush my hair for me. And I think they actually find it like really fun to braid my hair and stuff. So all of those worries I had really have not been trouble at all.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've talked about that with a few other mentors of how they have found that in college they've like met the most like amazing people, and I've had that experience as well. Of like they were so nervous about people having certain different stereotypes of disability and not wanting to help and whatnot, but that has been basically untrue in college, which is awesome.
Yeah, it's so nice. Like I I'm a little bit different because I don't outwardly like necessarily look disabled, which I hate to say because there's no one look for disability, but like based on people's stereotypes of disability, I don't likeness that. So I think that creates a different experience for me in terms of asking people for help, like especially people I don't know. Like I'm not gonna have people just come up and be like, oh, I'll open the door for you because they're not gonna realize I might need help with that.
Right. You know, it is
Mhm.
awkward to ask for help, especially when you feel like you're doing it like more than other people, but you realize, I think that's something I've realized in college of like it's not a big deal. Like no one really cares. Like they're happy to help and everyone needs
I've learned
something
that,
at some point.
yeah. And like one of my best friends, Nora, she's so sweet. One of the first times we were getting together for lunch, she still didn't know me very well. And this amazed me because she asked me if I preferred for her to just go ahead and help me with stuff or if I preferred for her to wait till I asked for help. I thought that was like so nice that she thought to ask that. Like that really amazed me. And so I have learned that, it's just like people are so willing to help. And I've tried to get over that awkwardness. Like once I was trying to go into the dining hall alone, and for some reason, the buttons for the doors weren't working. And so I couldn't open the door, and there wasn't anyone around, but there was this one guy like eating at a table kind of close by. And I just called him over and asked for help. And it was kind of awkward, but he was really nice about it, didn't make a big deal.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Um, has there been anything that you're still trying to like figure out in college?
I feel like honestly, I've adjusted so well. I figured that I would, but I did think that I would have more challenges than I feel like I do. Um, Honestly, I feel like everything's really gone well. I can't think of anything I'm still trying to adjust to. I mean, I guess I am working on creating my major because my school doesn't offer a disability studies major, so I'm going to be making that myself. So right now I'm taking health psychology and public health and a writing class and Spanish class. So I'm trying to figure out like what classes I want to take to build my major. I'm thinking I'm going to be taking a lot of psych classes and health and human values and communications probably and maybe sociology and poli sci. So yeah, I guess my major is really the one thing that I'm just kind of figuring out still.
That's awesome and that's exciting. Like you'll be able to take what classes
So
you want to take, which is kind of cool.
I love that. And I really love health psych this semester. I feel like it's not as popular of a psych class, but it's so interesting and really relevant to a lot of disability issues I've found.
Awesome. That's really cool. So is there anything that you wish you had like known before you went to college that like you've learned now?
I think the main thing that I would love to have been able to tell myself is that like everything will be perfectly okay. Like I always knew it would be, but I didn't really know how I would get to that point. Like I think I was always 100% confident that I would be able to go to college, and I was going to go without having an aide. And my mom would always say that she was going with me, which she was kind of joking, but kind of not. And so um, I think that it would be really great to have been able to tell myself, like, you were right that you were going to be able to go to college like without help and like do all of those things, because I really do think that I thought I would have more challenges than I do. Like everything has turned out so well, which is really amazing.
I love that. And I'm so happy for you that everything's worked out
You,
well.
thank you. Me too.
All right. And my last question for you is, do you have any advice to give to someone that's looking to go to college now?
I think my main piece of advice would be to really think about your application a lot in terms of like how you talk about your disability and how you include it on your application, because I learned that it could be like risky to do that, which really stressed me out when I was applying to college. Like a lot of schools can be discriminatory towards disabled students, which is awful. And I just like never really thought about that until I started applying to college. And I definitely think talking about your disability, if you want it, is a great thing and you should totally do it, because if a school denies you because of that, then you don't want to go to that school anyway. So I think taking risk of writing about your disability the way you want to write about it is a good thing to do. And on my application, I wrote about my disability because I was like, it's such a big part of who I am. Like so many of the things that I love to do are because of my disability. So I'm not just going to ignore that part of myself because I'm worried about discrimination. So I think maybe just trying to be more brave about writing about your disability and including it if it's something you wish to include, is a good thing to do.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I wrote about my disability as well when I was applying because, like, I mean, mine's very obvious as a wheelchair user. So I'm like,
Yeah,
there's no hiding this for one, and two, yeah,
right.
it's a
Like they're good.
part of my
Yeah,
life. And I think it makes you
yeah,
stand
and
out, which is a good thing when you're applying to college. Like, you want to stand out. So
definitely. Yeah, I think it's a good thing to write about on in most cases, because like yeah, like I said, if a college denies you because of that, you definitely don't want to go there because that's really gross to do that. So
very true. You don't want that. Don't want to deal with that for sure. Okay, excellent. Well, thank you so much for your time, Sarah Todd. It was wonderful talking to you.
thank you so much for having me. I think this is amazing, all the work you do. Like you're incredible, and I think this will help so many students with disabilities too.
Thank you.